Yo, what is up, guys? It is CRPHD back with another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new iPhone SE. So you guys remember the first iPhone SE that was released all the way back in March of 2016 alongside the iPhone 6s? Well, it was pretty much shaped like this iPhone 4, maybe just a little bit bigger, but it pretty much had this same exact design but newer internals because it was released alongside those new phones. This iPhone SE, I guess I would call it 2020, is pretty much the same exact idea or concept. It's no exception. So what this phone ends up doing is taking the iPhone 8's body, obviously, and as well as the chipsets from the premium flagship phones that Apple makes, and puts them in here, which is kind of crazy. This is like a little powerhouse, and it only starts at $399. So this $399 model is the base model, and it comes with 64 gigabytes, which is not bad. I mean, it's a lot better than what the options used to be back then, where the base models were only 16 and 32 gigabytes. I feel like this is a step up in the right direction. I really feel like people are going to like this phone, especially just coming in at the price point, and you don't have to pay over $1,000 to get an Apple logo on the back of your phone, as well as this phone just kind of hits everything in the right spot. It doesn't do anything extremely well, but it's not subpar at anything, really. So what I guess I'm pretty much trying to say is that this phone just does everything good enough, I guess. The screen size of this phone is 4.7 inches, so it's obviously not like the bigger phones that we've seen. It's not the biggest screen, but it most definitely isn't the smallest either. It weighs about 148 grams, as well as this is a 720p panel, so it's not what we would call full HD, but it's good enough. It's a Retina display, and color accuracy seems pretty good to me, but like I said, it's not like one of those high-end displays that we get on the more flagship quality phones. Another thing is that this phone does support Qi wireless charging. It doesn't support fast charging, but it does enable wireless charging since it does have a glass back, or of course you can always charge via the lightning cable. This phone is IP67 certified. I don't care what certification this is, it still isn't a good idea to take your phone out into the rain, so I'm warning you now. This phone has a 1960 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty good. I've gotten most definitely a full day's use out of this with just basic minimal use, and I think it's just all due to the new processor that's in here that I'll get into later, and as well as this is, like I said, a 720p display, so it's not consuming as much power as the bigger flagship phones would be taking. This phone goes back all the way to its old roots and ditches Face ID and goes back to Touch ID, which is nearly, like I said, a perfected way of authenticating yourself into your device. As well as this phone also does have stereo speakers, so if you are watching a stereo supported video, you'll get that nice surround sound effect. Now, one of the strong suits of this phone is actually the camera. It's a 12 megapixel shooter set at a 1.8 aperture, and it takes pretty good photos in my opinion. This is the best single lens camera on a phone, at least. Okay, let me rephrase it. This is the second best single lens camera on a phone, because I know the Google Pixel can take some amazing photos, but like I said, this is a great camera. It can also shoot 4K up to 60 frames per second. That is going to be with the high efficiency video recording codec, so yeah. But I really like this camera. iPhones have been the champs of recording video for a really long time, and that still sticks strong with this camera. And as well as the selfie camera is 7 megapixels, and it can record video at 1080p at 30 frames per second. Now, this phone has portrait mode with both cameras, so you can take portrait modes with the rear facing camera and the selfie camera. With my experiences with that, it's kind of been hit or miss. Like I said, the regular photos that just come out of this camera are tack sharp. They have a lot of detail, but once you start getting into the selfie camera, you can obviously tell that there's a loss of resolution. It isn't as sharp as the front facing camera, but once you start using, or once I started at least using portrait mode, that's when I saw the biggest hit. I can see that it's trying to get me in focus and center, but I think with my type of hair, it's kind of hard for it to give it a very specific and detailed outline, and it kind of just ends up frizzing my hair out. But this is just my personal experiences. Obviously, this is going to be hit or miss with me, but your results may vary. This phone also does have slow motion at 240 frames per second in 1080p. It's kind of crazy that phones are starting to get these capabilities and features. Like my DSLR that I'm shooting on can't even do that. I did test it out dropping just a couple of pencils, and it works pretty well. Obviously, it's not like the most sharpest picture just because this is coming out of a phone sensor, but overall, I mean, it's there and it's cool. Now, the thing that I feel that people are going to be most attracted to with this phone is the new processor or the new chipset that Apple put in here. So it's pretty much the same chipset, like I said, from the flagship phones, shoved in this $400 720p like little bitty tiny thing. So this is, like I said, again, a powerhouse of a phone, and with that new chipset in here, it just makes everything on this phone so much more smoother and responsive. This new chipset will improve a lot of things within this phone, like opening apps much quicker, as well as playing games, and overall just the entire UI experience is going to be a lot more snappier and smooth. And another thing that you should really take into consideration is that since this phone does have the same chipset as in the flagship phones, it's pretty much going to stay just as relevant as those phones are, because it's going to have the same updates pushed to it for the same amount of time. And that's another reason why I think people are really going to like this device, because it's just overall going to make the device more snappy, more responsive, and then you're still bringing down all that horsepower from those processors, putting it in this phone. So really, this phone is going to have some crazy longevity, and the sky is the limit for it. Already to me, this thing feels overpowered, because I've tried playing a variety of games on it, from less demanding titles like Subway Surfer and Fruit Ninja and things like that, and they work perfectly fine. They didn't skip a beat. Now, the thing that I was most curious about is if I can download maybe like Call of Duty Mobile, for example, and play it on here, and maybe I'll get it to hiccup. But no, I played Call of Duty, and despite the fact of me dying multiple times and not knowing what to do or how to play the game, it never skipped a beat. Like, it was just buttery smooth, and that's kind of what to be is expected from a phone with a flagship processor running on a 720p display. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that, but I mean, that's just a recipe for success. So as far as battery life goes with this phone, I haven't done an official test for it, but I will give some more updates over on Twitter with how it's doing over time. But I haven't had a problem getting a full day's use out of it, and I don't think people will have a problem with the battery. And as well as this phone has incredible standby time, as all Apple phones do pretty much. But yeah. So as I'm sure you guys can already tell, I really do like this phone. I kind of feel like it was the right balance between price and overall quality and specifications in a device. I don't feel like there was too many sacrifices or any sacrifices that were given up. This is kind of the phone that is perfectly balanced in a way. Like, I don't really have too many problems with it. I can without a doubt recommend, if you're looking for a new phone, I would without a doubt recommend you buy this phone. And if you guys would like to pick one up, I will leave a link in the description. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That has been the iPhone SE, the iPhone SE2, iPhone SE 2020, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned, because the next video is right around the corner. Peace. Yo, what is up, guys? I'm back again, but I just wanted to give a big shout out to my sister Jocelyn for letting me use her new iPhone SE. She just recently got this phone, and she also has an iPhone X, so I just asked her if I can go ahead and do a little review and test this phone out. So without her, really, this video wouldn't be possible. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is leave her Instagram in the description of this video so y'all can go and follow her. The whole reason this video exists is because of her letting me use it. Thanks again to her. Her Instagram will be in the description. And yeah, stay tuned because the next video is right around the corner. Yeah, I already said that in the outro, right?